G'day, Troy Smith here from Real Skills Ag Training. Welcome to the 4th edition of Aussie Ready. I'm really looking forward to hitting the road again soon for another season of cotton picker training throughout Australia. With the cost increases that we're seeing industry-wide, plenty of which is out of our control, there are two big things that we can do that are within our control. One is operator safety. We really don't want to see anyone injured or worse getting that crop off. The second thing we can control is machine utilisation, both in terms of productivity in the field and reduced damage or loss to things like fire. Good training and machine preparation is key to that, and this video is all about getting that machine fully ready in the pre-season so when that crop is ripe we can really hit the ground running. In this 4th edition of Aussie Ready, I'm going to focus on fire suppression systems that I really like seeing on any picker or stripper, and then also mechanical assistance for wrap loading to reduce that body strain and injury risk. Then we'll look at the latest and greatest with the Series 3 CP770 and a bit on how they went last season. And then these two main modifications, improving the air system on any model of cotton picker to reduce door blocks and plating that handler on CP770s. Any machine from a 2010 7760 to a brand new CP770 can benefit hugely by optimising that air system, reducing door blocks and allowing a higher ground speed. The other one is the handler skid plate that's become standard on all CP770s. Let's talk fire suppression systems. I've come to the conclusion that an aftermarket fire suppression system is an essential piece of kit on all pickers and strippers. In my training course, we train how to handle fire both with and without a fire suppression system, just using the standard fire extinguishers. I've seen all sorts of systems over the years, from mining spec to this cool homemade one at the Keelys up at Emerald. The Morowitzes at Comet have fitted a 400 litre tank and petrol pump to their machines. There's just no doubt that a large volume of water or foam is needed to suppress an advanced fire on cotton pickers and strippers. But let's have a look at this awesome new fire suppression unit that BMC Partnership in Moree are bringing in from the States. This might look like an ad for this system, but it's worth knowing about. The full package is two parts that can be purchased separately. The first part is an early detection system using a thermal camera in the accumulator. I believe they're selling it separately, called Firewatch, and it can go on any machine with or without a fire suppression system. It detects the smallest smoulder in the accumulator and gives an alarm and flashing light. You definitely can't miss it.
Hey guys, I'm PJ. As you can see, we've got a very small ember here. I'm just going to show you how rapidly the Firewatch can pick it up.
So I think that's pretty awesome. Early detection is such an important part of saving pickers and strippers when they catch on fire. So clearly that's available separately. That can go on machines that don't have fire suppression systems, like I said, but as a two-part with the new system that I'll discuss now, it's a pretty Mickey Mouse system. So the second part of the system is the firefighting unit itself. They call it Safe CAF, and there's two sizes available, a 30 and a 60, which is the capacity in US gallons. It's powered by compressed nitrogen and it's filled with a foam concentrate and water. And I really like that you can recharge it yourself and get back to work in no time with a spare nitrogen tank.
And a 60-gallon system, so when you're filling a 60, you fill it right to the top of concentrate. If you're a 30, that's half a gallon, that's 3/4, so you just fill it right to the first bevel. Once you get that in, you relieve the pressure of the tank, you open that, and you get the exact right mixture poured into the tank. Then you hook up your water hose down here, fill it through the bottom until you get straight water out of this vent hose. Sorry, son. Get straight water out of this vent hose right here.
This combination produces an astonishing volume of foam and could spend a couple of months on your picker and then be put on a chaser bin or a ute for harvest. And it's safe for the operator and the machine.
Non-carcinogenic, no PFAS, no CFAS, non-corrosive. Like I say, it won't taste too good. You can eat it. It's not going to hurt you, and it's not. The beauty part about this too is there's no cleanup. Depending on like the ambient temperature out here today, in about 15 minutes it'll all be gone.
It's operated manually. If you've detected a fire, step 1 is turn the tap on the nitrogen bottle. Step 2, turn the tap that feeds the fixed nozzles that you fitted to the machine. You can see them squirting into the round module builder, and they're fitted in the accumulator too. Then if you need to use the 1-inch lay flat fire hose, you'll turn its tap on, throw it overboard and get into it. Scott and the team at BMC can give you more info, but I'm really impressed with the system. I hope that with fire suppression systems and proper training, we can bring the cost of insurance down. It's how it should be. A lot of people are interested in how to handle that wrap without 2 people having to lift 100 kilo rolls of plastic. If you're quite happy with how it's going, good stuff, keep upper. But if you are interested in mechanical aids, South Banaba Agriculture has come up with this version. There are others that I've seen and heard of, but I'll talk you through what they've done so you've got time to make it if it's what you'd like to do. So they've used an X-Bull 3,000 pound 12 volt winch with braided rope. They've built a simple swinging davit arm, mounted the winch on a carriage so that it can run along the arm, powered it from the compressor battery with an Anderson plug. Then they made a short bridle and attached the wrap loading handles. You'll see they've got pieces of rope to be able to guide it when it's up high if you're using a truck trailer. Then it's controlled by the remote in Sarah's left hand. I reckon it's an awesome system. Yes, it will take a few minutes more to load a full picker, but the safety of your operators is so much better like this that I reckon it's worth doing. Using the flat top, they can carry 2 pallets of wrap, and I just love their ICB bins for the rubbish. As a multi-purpose service trailer with water, air compressor and wrap, I reckon it's awesome. Thanks guys for showing me back in May. Give them a follow on Facebook or some of the other socials. A different option that's picker mounted and works great too is this one on the Morowitz family's pickers up at Comet in central Queensland. It's a lovely clean design. Because it's picker mounted, the winch doesn't need to slide. You can see the rope runs over a fixed pulley at the end of the davit arm. Again, a simple bridle, and they've made their own neat little wrap loading handles. You'll find that video of Avenel loading wrap, as well as heaps more innovative stuff on their TikTok. It's worth a follow. So there's a couple of cool ways to load those 100 kilo rolls of wrap without the body strain. The team and I are getting ready to do the picker training road trip again this year, and we'll be everywhere from Claremont to Carrathool and Kununurra to Corindai. Because of such strong industry support over the last 3 years, we're going to offer a 2-part training day this year. The morning will be a thorough cotton harvest safety induction, including managing fires. This is for new picker and stripper operators clearly, as well as the grab drivers, service and support crew. This can also be a refresher for experienced operators who don't need the full training day. Then the rest of the day is the balance of the course, consisting of day 1 recommendations to settle that machine in, get those spindles clean and gain some confidence. Then it's operator excellence to get that productivity up and keep it up, covering speed management, height management, moisture management and more. Next is the section on the round module builder, how it works, loading and changing wrap, what we're watching for on our cameras as a module wraps, and handling misfeeds and common problems, so that we reduce those broken modules, which are very costly and a pain in the ass. The final section is about maintenance, with a big focus on a really effective blowdown to prolong component life, keep that machine running, and to also prevent fire risk. So there's a brief overview of what we're planning for this year's picker training. I think it's a no-brainer and pays for itself super quickly in productivity gains, let alone that safety induction and improved component life, reducing your operating costs. If you've got any questions on this year's picker training, give Melissa, Jasmine or myself a call. We'd love to chat. Righto, let's chat about the latest CP770s. I do like the new picker and I've heard some positive feedback. I did a YouTube on all of the changes last year when it was released at the Cotton Conference. This is what it's called. From brand new, they still need that air system sealing up, trimming and optimizing. They need that handler skid plate in furrow work and a fire suppression system to make them a really complete machine. The one big problem that's left is that spindle bar with the aluminium drive shaft. So the main changes for operators, you've got your new look corner post, Gen 5 screens with the ability to run 3 cameras at once now instead of only 2, which is good. And greasing the heads on the run now, which is cool. It pumps 1 minute of grease while you're still picking. You set how often it does that. This machine at Moree is set to 30-minute intervals, which is the shortest you can set. It was using slightly more grease than the older models, which I'm cool with. Grease is way cheaper than rebuilds. You do still have to do a top-up grease at the end of the day with the tether, but that's a good chance to check your units over anyway. Okay, let's get on with the rest of it. Here's those tips for improving the air system on any cotton picker. I've just spent a few days driving this machine and I had to limit my ground speed in good cotton, but nothing spectacular. And it's just not optimized. This nozzle here still has big air gap. Yeah, these nozzles, they get a huge gap in here. Some of them from pre-delivery. And if we don't seal that up, it lets cheap air get in there instead of pulling it through past the picker heads like we want it to. This one tip will make the biggest difference. If you don't have to unbolt your Venturi nozzles for changing row configurations, then I thoroughly recommend that you seal them in, clean up all of those gaps, and your air system will work so much more effectively. As well as silicone around these. So all that effort is adding up to higher ground speed and less door blocks. It's really worth it. And the 6-inch tube could be shortened. Head 6, the nozzle has been sealed, and I didn't actually get a block in 6. This could be a little bit shorter, and even the 3-inch. If we shorten them to their minimum, we're getting more air. Before we do any trimming of that 6-inch air hose, we want our heads right down, just on a flat surface, and we want every head in position in the widest row configuration that you're going to pick. Let's trim the excess off this 6-inch air hose. So I've made sure I've got my heads in their row. This one has a guess row averager. I've got it at its widest, so it'll never have to be longer than I'm going to cut it to. So I'm just going to take this much off to start with. And you need a strong set of side cutters to get through this wire. All right, let's run with that. That's got that curve lessened, and it really does improve airflow through those heads. So let's shorten this one a bit now too. that much off. Yeah, that's a lot better. I like that. Yeah, that is going to improve things. Head 6 looks good there now. You can see here that heads 4 and 5 can certainly have some of those bends taken out, the 6-inch, and we can shorten those 3 inches as well. Some of them can be a real pain to get to, but it's worth the effort. It's definitely a lot easier than 200 unnecessary head blocks through the season. And it's important, I come across the odd machine that has these pipes fitted backwards. There's this arrow here for direction of airflow. There's our directional arrow on the 6-inch. It is really important that they are fitted the right way. Here's one I found last year on backwards. This is another common mistake I see on a lot of machines. The little doffer door at the back of the cabinet gets fitted in that wrong hole, and it leaves quite a large air gap, and it's right next to the chute. So yeah, again, it's letting a lot of cheap air in. It should be in that front hole. I don't know why that second hole's even there. I think we should blank them off so it stops happening. You can go more extreme if you like. Some people do. But these ones are the main ones. Seal that Venturi nozzle into the chute. Seal that chute assist manifold, both front and back. Trim those 6-inch and 3-inch air hoses to take unnecessary bends out of them. Ensure the air hoses are the correct direction, and make sure those doffer doors are in that correct hole so that there's less gaps around that doffer door. The handler on the older models is fine and doesn't need this plate, but on the CP770 it's a new shape and it's okay on flat ground, but in furrows it gouges the hills and makes a real mess, particularly if it's wet. It's basically running a cutting edge here and makes life harder for mulchers and root cutters. It also causes a lot of drag and stress to the machine and can be enough to bog you in wet conditions. Lots of people have made their own plate or had local engineering works fold one up. In metre rows, there's really only 2 small contact points that we want to plate, here and here. We've been putting more steel and effort in than is needed. This one I saw last year at Darlington Point is all we really need. Here's the contact points covered, and this here is just sap from rubbing on the plants. Just one piece of 3mm, welded on, no folds, nice and simple. For the 30-inch machines, they'll need to go full width of the handler for the 4 hills that it contacts. Here's a couple of cool things that I've seen or used that are also related to safety at harvest time. First is a handrail on this cab roof walkway. I reckon it's the most dangerous heights issue on a picker. BMC Partnership makes this one, but I have seen others. Lay flat air hose for your blowdown is so much better than the old solid hose. It's much lighter to drag around, kinks less and feels a whole lot safer, particularly when you're on the roof. This is from Compressed Air Light and Power in Moree. Joff Kennington and the team will sort you out. I also really want to see a stay core weight sticker in all pickers and strippers. It could save the operator's life in the case of power line contact. I bring a bunch with me each year to training days, but they're also really easy to order online. This is the New South Wales version from Essential Energy. You'll go to Safety Collateral and under Free Farm Safety Stickers, you'll get number 9 for cotton harvesters. Righto, that'll do for this year's Aussie Ready. I look forward to seeing or meeting you out on the road during this year's picker training season. If you've got any questions about it, please contact Melissa, Jasmine or myself and we'll sort you out. Thanks.